Hello, and welcome to my personal corner on the internet, Nader's Nook. I'm Nader, and in today's video, we're gonna have a very chill little artist vlog, I guess you could call it. I have some clips of what I did over New Year's with my family, so that's gonna be in there, as well as reflecting on 2024 and my plans and goals for 2025. First of all, happy 2025, everybody. I hope everyone had a good and safe New Year's. Okay, so I originally wanted to post this video a bit earlier, but when I was celebrating my New Year's, I ended up getting sick with the cold, and it was like the last week of 2024, beginning of 2025, I got sick for like the first week of the new year, and then I was fine the week later, but then the week after that, I got sick again, but this time it was with the flu, and everyone in my household right now is suffering. I still have like a cough. It won't go away. I'm trying so many things. Yeah, so that was the beginning of my 2025. Not fun. Especially like I'm personally like not really fond of New Year's. It gets really cold, and like, okay, I live in South Florida. Obviously, it doesn't get as cold. Like, it doesn't get as cold as other places, but still, it's freezing. I live where you vacation. I like it hot. And in South Florida, it is hot down here, and I love it. I don't know, I feel like a Victorian woman where they're like, you need to go to the sea. That's me. That is me. And the cold does not work with me. It usually makes my mental health like go down the drain a bit, and I feel like stiff, and I don't enjoy the new year along with the cold, and especially getting a cold and then getting the flu. Not fun at all. So yeah, so this video was supposed to come out earlier, but then I stopped to take care of myself, so I had to put this video on the back burner, but that's fine. It's okay. We can always just come back to it. Reflecting on the year 2024, I actually made a lot of pieces, contrary to what my script said when I made it back in December of 2024 towards the end. At the time when I wrote the script, I didn't calculate how many pieces I made. I'm glad that I was wrong because I have way more pieces than I thought. So last year I made around 33 pieces. Some of those are digital, some of those are printmaking, and then I also finished 3 sketchbooks. So I did do a lot of art. The thing is that I need to actually log what I do. So I actually used Sketches of Shay and her partner Steven's night tracker, and actually that helped me a lot, but then I fell off of it. So I have to get back on that. Ideally, I would love to draw every day, but that's just not what works for me in my personal life, especially when like things come up. Okay, if I, miss a day or two, it's not that big of a deal for me. So like if I didn't draw for a day, I wouldn't upload my progress to the art tracker. So that's completely on me. The first half of the year was me making a bunch of art pieces. I was doing great, logging everything in my night tracker, to see what I'm doing every day. But then halfway through the year, I got caught up in what other people are making. Social media is such a double-edged sword. Like, I'll talk about it in another video that I'm planning, but I just got caught up in what other people are making, and my art is not narrative driven. It's very much just like, this is cool. But yeah, so then other people's art had more of a narrative story base, and I was just like, that is so cool. Like, how can I incorporate that into my art? But I did that to a fault. I forgot what I like to do, and I basically was just so focused on making art pieces that had a story that I just basically like put myself in a corner, and I was like, what am I doing? So overall, I did stray away from what I typically do and draw, and I think this happens to everybody. Every once in a while, you just kind of get lost, and then you just kind of have to find your way back to the path. Also, I didn't really have any goals for 2024. I'm not someone that really sets goals because it's just not something I do, but I usually just try to see what I can improve on in my personal life. Usually my goals for the new year is like, how can I better myself to be just a better person,
What's the genus, Nicole?
I don't know.
Nicole likes it.
I don't know. It's a thing from Pandora. I'm not too sure.
Get laughing while looking at you.
Yeah, she said, haha, nerd.
Ecosystem on the reserve. This one's known as. The river is home to a lot of the more aquatic animals that live out here, such as hippopotamus and crocodile. And we have officially entered the reserve. Our first stop today is into a tree cover here. A lot of places for animals to hide and blend in. But I do already see one off to your right. The coffee has some pretty fancy paints on them. Those stripes may remind you of a zebra. They're actually loosely mimic the same stuff that you're using. Both those bongo and those kudu howlers, these are called pink-backed pelicans. They get their name from the pink coloring you may notice along their feathers. Non-table antelope are actually the emblem of the Harambe Wildlife Reserve, and they're known for their fighting. Use those horns to defend themselves. They actually use mountain zebra. Yeah. A zebra like this is referred to as a dazzle. The stripes do create a dazzling effect. The phenols are. It's also on his own, which is probably your best. They're looking for you. I say Teresita. Right there, that mane hasn't fully come in yet, but give him a couple years. He'll have a nice luscious head of hair.
Okay, so my goals for 2025. My first goal would be to experiment more and do more mixed media art. This year I want to focus more on experimenting with my digital art. If you saw in my Ratatouille video, I actually started out that painting traditionally with gouache and watercolor, and then I scanned it and then continued working on it digitally just for like details and adjustments. The last step is like minimal. Overall, I want to incorporate more of my traditional art with digital art. One thing I love doing is looking through my sketchbook and finding traditional art that I like, either a sketch or a more finished piece, and I'll continue working on that sketchbook page digitally. So yeah, I just wanted to lean more into like textures and see what I can make with traditional art and then just like combining it. I just, just experiment in general. My second goal for 2025 is to make art a daily habit, or at least try to. So I talked about this earlier on in the video, and I don't draw every day. It's just not what works for me, and I really don't feel like forcing myself to draw. Overall, for this goal, I just want to keep my quote-unquote art muscle toned. And by doing that, I typically draw figures almost every day. I talk about this in my How I Approach Anatomy video, so if you want to see that, it'll be there. But basically, I love drawing figures. It is so fun for me. By making art a habit and drawing almost every day, it'll keep me from being rusty, improve my drawing skills, as well as I won't feel too much pressure when I actually get down to drawing a more finished piece. And I just want to keep it like fun and loose, you know? Another habit I would like to incorporate is having an hour sketchbook session once a week. Most of the time, I draw in my sketchbook without needing to be reminded that it's there, but I would like to dedicate some one-on-one time with my beloved sketchbook. You know, I feel like it'll keep a creative flow going, and it's kind of like journaling. The last part of this goal is that I want to see if I can try to incorporate oil painting more in my art practice. So basically for this, I have a lot of family members that I live with, so it's easy to ask someone to sit down for an hour to do a portrait or figure paint them. And so I started oil painting a bit last year. I have a video about that if anyone wants to see. It goes into my history with painting. Acrylic was my enemy, still is, but yeah, I love oil painting. It's so much smoother. It's beautiful. But I was also thinking that if I somehow fumbled finding someone or did some poor time management, I could just arrange my like trinkets and toys into a still life. I'm gonna see if I could try oil painting more just because it's fun for me, and then also I love the way oil paint is compared to acrylic paint. Alright, so my third and final goal is to challenge myself to develop my own original characters. Last year I sat down multiple times to try to create an original character. For the sake of not being repetitive, I'm going to use OC as an abbreviation to original character. I have a draft of a list of different characters in their worlds, but this year I would like to challenge myself to actually try and work on skills that I'm not very good at, that being developing my OCs, character design, world building, and a little bit of character interactions. I've always been interested in other people's characters and their creativity behind the lore. The process of actually making ideas made and so I can see it on paper This is actually the most challenging goal out of all 3 that I listed, so hopefully I don't get overwhelmed by it. But overall, I would like to focus more on a loose story and put my main energy into character design and world building. Maybe later on in the year or next year, I could focus more on fleshing out their story and getting into the details of what's happening in each of their situations. But for now, I think a quick summary and then focusing on their design is my main focus for this goal. Maybe some mixed media illustrations, getting to learn the character that I created. But overall, I just want to see if I can work on my character design skills to see if I could just push myself out of my comfort zone just a bit. How will my goals tie in with YouTube? Let me tell you. Okay, so here are some of my YouTube plans for 2025. So I started posting last year in 2024. My Ratatouille video is actually doing pretty good. I even sold the physical painting that I made in that video. And due to the success and my pure enjoyment of creating videos, I actually want to see if I can plan on posting regularly. I know the beginning of this year, that's what I planned on doing, and then I got sick twice. I'm still sick, so, that's been so fun to try to navigate. Also, my How I Approach Anatomy video is doing very, very well. I'm not going to have a set day to post, but I want to try to aim for once a week, or at least 3 times a month. But yeah, so I'm thinking of Thursdays through Sundays, but I really need to focus on my time management. I'm actually so excited for 2025 and the videos that I have planned and that I'm working on right now. And my 2025 goals that I talked about previously ties in with what I'll be posting on this channel. Okay, side note, originally this channel was called Nader, which is just my name, but in the last video, either the Ratatouille one or How I Approach Anatomy, at the beginning of the video, I said, "Welcome to my corner on the internet," and most people call me Nader, which is my last name, so I played around with that and I rebranded to Nader's Nook. I was thinking it's more catchy and it's a play on my corner of the internet, corner, Nook, this is Nader's Nook, I'm Nader. Okay, so enough lore about me, back to how my goals tie in with what I'll be working on and posting on YouTube. So I talked about my goals for developing OCs. I really want to make videos where I introduce them, show off my process with character design, the concepts, sketches, character sheets, and lore for each of their different worlds. I'll give you guys a little sneak peek of what I plan on posting, obviously scattered throughout the year. So a few ideas off of my list are turning my friend Will and I into mice travelers. I have this idea for a fairy traveler guy, mystical lesbian creatures, also turning my sister and I into characters from Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, and Avatar. Not what you're thinking, not the bending of elements, but the one with the blue people. I am so interested in James Cameron's Avatar and Avatar: The Way of Water. Now that we are in 2025, I'm so excited for Avatar: Fire and Ash in December. So yeah, I have a really big interest with the blue people, so I'm gonna try to make some OCs based on that just because I love the world of Pandora. Other than working on my original characters, I want to explore sharing my drawing process, both digital and traditional art, from sketchbook concept doodle drawings to final pieces, as well as how I organize my ideas, steps, inspirations, and what I use to arrange them, like Pinterest or Milanote. There will be lots of art, the usual sketchbook tours and draw with me's, all that good stuff, but I also wanted to incorporate more of my interests. So I'm planning on creating videos where I talk about periods of times in history, talking and expanding on why I love the era, and have some art in the background, sort of like a podcast. Some other ideas I have is actually talking about my love for animation, as well as printmaking, and I was thinking about doing motivational videos, like a message to myself and you kind of thing. Videos where I talk about art block or finding inspiration or just filling up my creative bank. Maybe a couple tutorial videos. Finally, I have YouTube video plans for what really interests me and the body of work that I have that has to do with the strange and uncanny, example being Furbies. I have way more ideas and plans for future videos, but for now, this is all I'm going to tell you. You'll just have to stick around to see. I really just want to have fun and just try to expand my creativity. Okay, so we're done talking about my art goals, but I just wanted to touch a little bit on my personal goals for this year. So I would really like to get back into a routine in my day-to-day life. I would really like to go back to the gym, not to get buff or anything, but just to keep my sanity. going to the gym and maintaining my physical health is very important, you know? I don't want to be like creaking, you know, like, I don't want that. I'm good. Also, I draw and I'm trying to make this a regular thing, like posting on YouTube. So that being said, I am someone that is sitting down for the huge majority of the day. Exercise is very beneficial. Honestly, I'm one of those people that low-key hate that exercise works. I could also incorporate just walking around the block in my own neighborhood. At this point, I think any movement is good, and just not sitting for a while is just as important. I don't need to do a whole intense workout. To add to that, I want to hang out more with my friends, just a little more often, you know, to get out of the house, but also just to connect with people I love and care about the most. Last thing I want to say is I might be going back to school, like to college. I got my bachelor's degree in art. I got my bachelor's in art degree from UCF, and I've been thinking about going back to get another degree just for my educational arsenal, and not necessarily at UCF, but it's just been on my mind, so we'll see if we get there. If you made it to the end of this video, just a big thank you. Thank you for listening and thank you for watching. If anyone wants to share their art goals or personal goals or just anything for the New Year's of 2025, I would love to know in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video and watching me draw and share my plans and goals for this year. I'm really excited to plan and continue working on growing this channel and interacting with everyone. I hope everyone had a happy new year for 2025, and I'm wishing everybody the absolute best, and I'll see you next time. Bye!